Welcome everyone to the 2025 Indiana High School Bowling Coaches Clinic. My name is Larry Sadaman. I'm the state commissioner. If there's any new people, welcome. Welcome all to the returning coaches. Thank you for taking time out on your weekend to come join us, and hopefully a very informative discussion today on upcoming rules, our guest speaker, and stuff like and so on. We'd like to thank Tom Taylor in the pro shop here at Triple Crown. We have, besides Tom, me, Selena, we've got a whole lot of bowling balls. 84 bowling balls that we'll be able to give away for you to help your program. The one thing I did notice when I went around the state last year is seeing how many bowlers were using house balls. And in all my years of coaching, that was first thing I did is got a bowler in a ball for them so they can get the feel right, not squeezing, not too light. So it's always important to get a ball in a bowler's hands. If it's by donations, it helps a family that can't afford a ball at least get started in the program. The kid gets enjoying it, then they buy a ball, the pro shop gets more business for them. So maybe they won't get the purchase of a ball at the beginning, but at least they'll get the drilling cost. In some cases, some of the pro shop people that I've dealt with, we've worked out deals.
Hey Larry, on that, I don't know if anyone else, I don't know if anyone else got awarded the grant by USBC for the high school. I know I got 10 bowling balls for free, brand new bowling balls from USBC, and I applied for the grant.
Yeah, those of you that do not know, USBC has a bowling program that you and your school sign off on, that you submit. Now, these bowling balls may not be they're all USBC approved balls, but they may be, they're not always Brunswick, Ebonite, Storm, it's whatever. You don't have a choice of pin, you don't have they just send it to you. You'll find some balls might show up with holes in them. Most of them show up not drilled, that they just inspect. These are balls that had to be turned into them by the ball manufacturers that for testing and approval. And so they send a lot of bowling balls out. I've had a couple in my old conference did that. They got their bowling balls. The one school did ask, hey, do we get the balls back? And these balls are drilled for individuals. It's not like a house ball, so they understood, and they let the balls stay with the kids in the program. So yes, you'll have to work with your schools, because the schools has to sign off on it. But basically, it just betters for the bowlers, especially, like I said, if you're in an area that has has the people needing it. I'm gonna apologize right now. I am having issues with my right leg, and I've had 2 treatments this week for it, and so I tend to lose focus. Let's see, anything about Dexter, there's something with bowling shoes too. You might read out, I think it's Dexter has something if you're needing shoes. There's another one. Tom, you got any word on any of these stuff? Something like that? There is programs out there, so if you've got a young program or starting a program, it's what places to reach out, to help your program grow. We all know how hard it is to get bowlers, especially girls. I've already heard of a couple places that have lost girls teams this year, and here we are just not even starting yet, and I'm getting reports. I've got reports of a couple more schools coming in, but I don't like hearing that we're losing girls teams because it's already, we're light on girls teams. So, any help in your area pushing it is appreciated. Working with your centers, your Saturday leagues, even working with your centers to, when they're out there for global, even go down there to global and talk to these kids, and especially when it gets to the middle school ones, parents do not know that that program exists. Our program for that has grown big the last couple of years. I'm anticipating that we'll probably break that 1,000 bowler mark this year after many years of being in the six and 700. So I'm hoping for an increase there. Let's see, there's Tom's welcome. Let's see, what was that? USBC registration, all right, I'll touch on it basically. We were going to have a new way to register this year. We're working with USBC, but it did not come to fruit as soon as we were hoping for. So we're at this point hoping that it'll be ready for the middle school program. It'll make it easier on anyone. Just a kind of an overview of it. What we're looking at is that they will go to bowl.com, they can purchase their membership or tell it they bought it in another league, but they would be registering for the Indiana High School Bowl. We would be the main league. That, and then by doing that, that also takes care of the waiver. So they're doing both at the same time. And the plan is that once we get that report from USBC, we're gonna build it in the background that it'll go into a file that will separate it to each of the conferences and team schools, and then those head coach would get an email every time their kid has registered. This is the goal we're looking at. Again, it's still in the works, but that's what we're looking at down the road. So basically, it ends a lot of double work being done now. And last year I would send out the reports to all the conference coordinators so they can pass out to the teams each week. This way it'll be happening even faster, we hope. Again, until we get it all finished, built, then we'll see what happens. You might see things during the season here happen if we get things, parts of it working. We'll have to see how it goes. But look for a change coming.
Larry, does that mean they're not paying for local dues?
The local dues will be, you'll be sanctioning through me for the USBC $4. If you're bowling in the Saturday league, then they would pay. When they register for that league, it'd be like they're in another league, that they would pay the local share to them. We wouldn't get a local share here, but because the youth, I believe the youth online is not set up with the local share. I'm not sure, since I don't process youth anymore, been years, I'm not sure how that's, again, that's one of the things, part of what they're telling me is that there will be the option of paid and non-paid. So if they do pay in your league already, then all they'll do is just go in there and say paid another league. And so it should be.
Yeah, I think a lot of our high school, and you can answer this, Chris, do not do both leagues. And without them holding or sanctioning local, they do not have the option of getting a lot of the association
So,
You might be able to talk to your association manager, just have them pay like a transfer fee if they charge them at all. Our association doesn't charge our youth for
like I
anything
say,
other than the
this is something, like I said, we can,
Yeah.
we can work on and see what we need to, you know, that's, you know, yes, the $4 is easy, but they forget about that other fee. It's stuff that we'll make note of as we meet, discuss and do things, see how things come. Again, this is just an overview, nothing's in stone, it's all being developed as we go here. So, thanks for the insight, we can pass it on.
Larry, real quick one.
Yeah,
A lot of times the Saturday morning sanctioning will precede or beat in like the high school sanctioning, so to speak, just because of the timing of things. If they've already processed their card or sent in their card via the local association,
Right.
then they've already obviously paid that $4 to USBC.
yeah, so that they'll just.
So when they would go in for this, then they just have to make sure they're putting their accurate USBC number in.
Their accurate number in, and then it'll
Okay.
just, it'll come up, you're paying your dues through what? It's going to be the choice of IHSB league or other, and so they would be hitting other. And, right now, I've got 50 bowlers already done their waivers, so, you know, the Saturday leagues haven't started yet.
Right.
So they would be ones that would be on to the other side. Again, it's gonna be a little bit, you know, what we need to do, look at it, and it was decided it was too close of a time frame to, and with everybody, because right, like I said, right now, I got coaches and bowlers are about head to head right now on waivers turned in. You got 2,700 bowlers, 600 coaches, so technically the bowlers are behind. But most of them haven't started or call-outs are happening. So it just helps me get started slowly, checking all the information of the staff as we check to make sure on sanctions, safe sport. Again, reminder, safe sport, your 18-year-olds, that gotta get it done in a timely manner. I need to move on here.
Hold on, Larry.
But, yes.
You're wanting, I talked to Scott about it over the summer. You guys are just wanting USBC to build you something like what they're already doing for youth sanctioning. Because they're wanting us to do everything online now, so I have like an Arrowhead page. And I send that information out and parents pay their sanction fees right there. And if you've already paid, it doesn't charge you a second time. It just shows that you're registering for another week.
Okay, QR codes in your packets, and you've seen, we've got, you got packets out there. Now, there was some that got sent out, the main one for all the bowlers, and like in my case here, to sign up for Indiana High School waiver. On some of the papers, it might say to sign up for USBC. When I printed all these up, it was still in the plans. Instead of reprinting 100 of these things, I just left it as go. But that first one in your bowlers area, the first one you see is for everyone 17 and under. There's one for 18 and older, and those that have a JV program that uses the middle school kids, there's a QR code for that. It helps us keep all of them, the three separate. Before, I would have to go in and separate each one, and it just makes it easier to track. Because we do have some JV programs, 8th graders, some 7th and 8th, and some 6th, 7th, and 8th. So it just, we keep those off to the side. That 2,700 number does not include those middle school numbers. So you got the three different, and there's a JV one also that's in your pile. Then we come into, then we got for coaches, coordinators, you got your waivers, It used to be just called the coach's waiver. Some coordinators asked where it was theirs. I said it was the same one, so I just added the name to it. Your school team roster coming along next with the due date of October 22nd. Again, you can add to that at any time. It's starting to give us an idea on the numbers, so we know as we're building towards postseason, we can see what's going on. The 25-26 rules, there's a QR code for that. Same thing with the tournament rules. You've got a copy of each of those in your packets. The website for Indiana high school bowling and middle school bowling. The postseason tickets this year, all tickets are pre-purchased. There will be none sold at the door. We did that in middle school last year with 100% done. So, yes, there'll be a little kickbacks, from parents about have to do, how's grandma gonna do, and how's this and that. All they got, they didn't have the ticket on their phone and just show it, that it's not that hard. A lot of schools have gone to it in their regular programs, so we're just catching up with a lot of school systems around the state. Basically, right now, if you go to that link, it goes and it shows you the page at event link, and when that shows up, when we put all of them in, everyone will be listed in there. So you just look up what section you're at, what regional you're at, what semi-state you're at, and you'll be able to order tickets all from there. Eventually, I'll also give the links out to each of the tournament sites, sectional, the tournament regional. They'll get their own, but this one master one that everyone can go to.
Larry, just curiously, based on attendance levels at certain areas, are those tickets going to be limited this year as far as the amount that will be sold? We're hoping, this year we went to a third semi-state, so that's where the problem bottlenecked up. And so we're hoping the numbers will be set just shy of their capacity, as we now ask, and future bidding from all centers will be asked to tell us what their capacity is. And so, part of the issue we had with the one, when you have it, in the other rounds, is that you got singles and teams and they're different, and the other one sticks around for the other one, it makes the building overfilled. And it's just, in the case, we just going to ask the people that, sorry, that I know you want to support your team, that you didn't make it on the team, but, we got capacity problems. Hopefully, with the new structure we got, we won't revisit that issue. I mean, in 25 years, first time the fire marshal come visit us, that's gotta be a blessing, and hopefully never see him again, because I talked at the Jamboree one year, and I invited people to come see us. If you haven't seen a crowd at bowling, come to a high school match, middle school match. You'll see how much your future is down the pipeline coming towards you as an adult in your leagues. It's important for them to understand how much we got down there in that pipeline. Because my years of being an association manager, I understand how we lose bowlers when they graduate, but they're out there. We just got retention. That's been a long-standing problem all the way back to ABC. Team app, hopefully everybody is part of Team app. It's how we communicate with all the coaches. The coaches can communicate with their bowlers, their parents. They can get chats going on in there to their scheduling. There are several of them that use it fully. Some of them don't even touch it.
after talking with a couple principals this year, it was, they ended up asking me about information on the chats. They heard that something was being said and asked if I had a way of looking and, to confirm some negativity happening or bullying going on that I could, see. And, I got one school system that they are telling all their kids this year, they will be on the team app. So principals are liking it just as much as, we like giving it to you. I've made up the coaches one so that we can chat, and if you see last year, somebody comes up with a question, put it out there. One of the other coaches could easily answer your question. If I don't get to see it too, see it before then, it's coaches helping coaches. It's helped us build a program, and it's what's out there, it helps us. Anybody has any questions about it, feel free to talk to me later about it, send me an email. I hope you understand it. It's not really that difficult, and it gives a lot of information and keeps your parents and bowlers all on the same page. You take over, Mike.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Crosser. I'm the IHSB tournament manager for this year. And again, just to highlight, Savage Bowling is live streaming this event. The link is, if you go to YouTube and just search for Savage Bowling, it should be out there under the live link. I think Larry sent something out through the team app to highlight that just recently. So I'm going to try and take you through the rule changes for this year, or highlight some of the rules that we're going to emphasize. Again, this is just a quick look. Everybody has rule packets. I would seriously advise that each and every coach and coordinator go through both the regular season rules and the tournament rules in detail. Don't rely on this presentation. Go through the details. This presentation is just going to hit the highlights. All right, some of the team for the regular season, the team structures. Again, a competition team is 5 players. So that's the official size of the team for Indiana High School Bowling is 5 players. Teams that have 5 or more players with at least one game of varsity competition completed no later than December 15th, they will be counted towards the team's or the conference's advancement ratios. So when we go and figure out our tournament advancement ratios, we're going to look at teams with 5 or more players and count those in the numbers. Teams can compete with 3 players during the regular season, or at least 3 players, and they can compete in a tournament with 3 players as well. So 5 is the official number. You may compete with 3. It gives you a chance to go ahead and fill that roster in throughout the season. Schools, again, just like last year, they can field 1 boys team and 1 girls team or a co-ed team. Just some reminders on the eligibility as this caused some issues last year. All bowlers must turn in and complete online a waiver form. This must be done prior to the player's first practice, and it's the coach's responsibility to ensure that this is completed. It's the coordinator's responsibility to ensure that the coach fulfills their responsibility. So again, it really starts with the player and their parents. Coaches have to push these responsibilities to make sure they get these things taken care of with the waiver forms and the sanctioning. All players must be USBC certified before their first official competition. And then that last bullet, players with safe sport. If they're 18 prior to the season, they need to complete the adult safe sport before the season starts. If they should turn 18 during the season, prior to March, we're going to require that they complete that safe sport no later than December 15th. And if they can complete it while they're still 17, I believe that's an easier safe sport to complete, right? So we would advise that if a player is going to turn 18 during the season, complete that safe sport as soon as possible.
It's 20 minutes compared to 2 hours if they do while they're 17. they turn 18, and it's good for a year, so if you do the one while you're 17, it counts as being done.
Mike,
Yes.
can you get verification and send that out from USBC rules, because that's not the content that I got from rules when inquired about it. They say that if you turn 18 during that season, you must take the adult safe sport.
We'll get the clarification, but again, it's our understanding, if you take that prior to your 18th birthday, you can still do the youth side of it. If you wait till your 18th birthday, then you need to do the adult.
You can do the youth before you turn 18, but once you turn 18, you have to do the adult according to rules.
And I think that's what we just said.
No, it's not.
If you turn 18 after August 1st and before March 1st, you're gonna have to take safe sport before December 15th. If you take the safe sport while you're still 17, you haven't turned 18, you can use the youth safe sport. If you wait until your 18th birthday and do the safe sport at 18 or after, then you have to do the adult.
Okay, so my question here is, I have a bowler that is turning 18 before March 1st. You're saying if he does a youth safe sport, he's good through March 1st. Is that what you're telling me?
If his birthday was December 1st, as a USBC, he is a youth bowler as of August 1st.
Right.
So he's a youth bowler. So he's a youth bowler for the season. IHHS is the one requiring the 18 by the end of the season to have the waiver done. It's not a USBC rule, it's a high school.
But what I'm getting at is if he takes the 17 by December 15th, whatever it is, and then he turns 18 in January, at that point, he has to do the adult safe sport according to USBC rules.
What we were, again, when you talk to USBC rules, you'll get one answer, call back 10 minutes later, you'll get another answer. What was explained to us, and we checked with them that this is what was told to us, so that's how we proceeded. If something's changed, we will have to reach out to Brian English and see if something's changed. But as of right now, that is our policy. We will look into it.
We'll follow up, Mark, and again, right now, we're gonna go with, if they're 17, they can complete the youth, and that'll meet the IHSB requirements.
Okay.
If it changes, we'll let you know. Other highlights, the program cost, again, for the IBCA members is this year's $350, non-members has went up to $700. The other change that went into play towards the end of last year, coaches outerwear, this is from coach's dress code. Coach, if you're gonna wear any kind of sweatshirt, jacket, or whatever, that has to match the school's spirit wear colors. Hoodies or sweatshirts must also include a school name and or logo, otherwise the hoodies or sweatshirts will not be allowed. So you just have to match your school logo if you're gonna wear a hoodie or a jacket or the school color. And then the other modification, safe sport, while under investigation, will no longer automatically result in a suspension while the investigation is taking place. There's been the last couple of years, if there was an investigation that was ongoing, that coach and or coordinator and or player would be suspended from competition until that investigation completed. That's requirement now, or that penalty has now been removed, and it will be up to the IBCA Board of Directors in terms of when the suspension will go into place.
Mike, I have a quick question on this line. How do we find out if our center is IBCA, or they're a member of that?
I would say to contact Scott Devers, who's the IBCA Association Manager. I think there were only 3 centers in last year's program that were non-members.
Because they potentially could have a new center
would reach out to Scott.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving into tournament rules. Again, this is just gonna highlight some of the changes that were made or just points of emphasis. Again, please review those tournament rules when you have your opportunity to do so before the season, so you're fully aware of all of the rules that are in place. Tournament overview. Again, the tournament will have a team event and a singles event, 2 divisions, boys and girls. Co-ed teams will compete as boys, so that's just like last year. 4 stages of competition, sectionals. Sectionals will not be allowed to begin until after January 2nd this year, and they must conclude by January 18th. The regionals, we're again going with 6 different sites, with all competition on January 24th. Semi-state, as Larry had alluded to earlier, we are now moving to 3 sites, and that competition will be on January 31st. That was done to alleviate some of the crowding issues that we had, or we've seen at that level over the last 2 years, and we didn't want to reduce our numbers of advancers, so we went ahead and added a site. State finals will again be a 2-day competition. That'll take place February 14th and February 15th. Eligibility. This is probably the key slide of the presentation. Just want to emphasize the eligibility requirements for the state tournament. The waiver forms, again, these waiver forms should be completed before the first practice, but we will use a database as of December 15th to determine eligibility for the state tournament. So if you've not completed that waiver form by December 15th, you will not be eligible, or your bowler will not be eligible to compete in the state tournament. Same goes for the USBC certification. If it's not on file by December 15th, that player will become ineligible for the state tournament. And then again, with the safe sport, we'll find clarification for that, but for safe sport, for players who do turn 18 prior to March 1st, we want to have that safe sport on file and completed no later than December 15th. So December 15th is the key date for all of these eligibility requirements from an administrative standpoint. Also, players, in order to be eligible for the team event, they must be listed on their team's official tournament roster. So each coach will be required to submit a tournament roster. The initial roster we're going to ask for December 15th, but that tournament roster does not have to be finalized until sectionals. That includes up to 10 players, with 7 players eligible for each stage of the tournament. And then just continuing some of the eligibility requirements that are unchanged, players must still meet their academic requirements of their school. And then players must have bowled 1 game with the team that they are representing to be eligible for the team competition, and then 1 game with any team should players transfer schools during the middle of the season to be eligible for the singles competition. Any questions on that eligibility?
Mike, real quick, last year, I don't remember what chat it was on the team app or whatever, there seemed to be some confusion as far as on the singles end of things. Teams that had more than 10 bowlers, as far as being eligible,
Yep.
is it that 10 that's eligible?
Nope.
Okay.
Singles, team event, 10 players are eligible to be on the roster. 7 can compete at any stage. Singles, to be eligible for the tournament, all you need is one game. Doesn't matter if you've got 15 players with 1 game, all 15 are eligible for the singles competition.
Now, is that factored into the advancement numbers then?
The advancement numbers, I think we'll get into it
Okay.
shortly, but if I don't, I'll just give you a little heads up here.
Yeah.
For the advancement numbers with the teams, we're only counting teams with 5 players as an official team. And then for individuals, we're only counting up to 10 for the advancement. And those 2 things are in there for competitive reasons. We don't want to have free passes, so to speak. So we're limiting it to just for the advancement numbers, 5-player teams and 10 players for singles in terms of calculations.
Yeah, so if somebody had, let's say, teams have got 15 on their roster, only 10 of those are counting towards the advancement number.
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
But
But all-
they
Okay,
can
just
still-
make it clear.
But all
but they
15.
can all bowl.
Sectional realignment, again, this is going to kind of our competitive discussion. We're trying to make these, each stage of the competition, players earn their advancement. We don't want to give out any free passes. So there's a possibility that we will do some sectional realignments this year. So any conference that had fewer than 3 boys and or 3 girls teams, they may be subject to being realigned with another conference for sectional play. So if you only had 1 boys team or 1 girls team last year, more than likely, you're gonna see yourself combined with another conference for sectional play. Again, that is for improving our competitive parameters, and we're gonna have some preliminary,
So, like in my conference, I had like 12 boys teams. If I went down to less than 3 girls teams, would that mean that I would have, my girls would combine with another sectional? Or potentially a smaller sectional would come to us?
no, if we're gonna do a realignment, again, we're gonna look at the complete picture.
Whole thing, okay.
Boys and girls would get combined. So if you've got 10 boys and 1 girls, and another conference has 5 and 5 that we loop you with, then they'll just get together, you'll have 15 boys in that sectional, 6 girls.
Okay,
Okay, so,
okay, thank you.
and again, we will look at those, we'll look at our preliminary numbers here in probably late October to see where we're at in terms of the teams. And then we'll start reaching out to the conference coordinators and see if we can come up with this, with any kind of realignment plans that may be necessary. And any kind of notification of a realignment, we'll take care of that by November 15th, so that everybody has enough time to plan from a sectional standpoint. Tournament advancement, again, conference advancement numbers will be based on all information that we receive from the coordinator on December 15th. So we're gonna take the average sheet as of December 15th, and we're gonna use that as a starting point. So anybody that's got 1 game in, up to 10 players per team will count towards those advancement numbers. Any team with 5 or more players with 1 game in will count towards the advancement numbers. Okay, just the advancement numbers. Again, if you have more than 10 players for singles, all those players may bowl. If you have a team with 4 players or 3 players, they still may bowl in the sections. We're not eliminating them from competition. So that's those bottom two points. Any questions on that? Again, December 15th is the key. We're gonna use that average sheet, and that's gonna be the basis.
I was gonna say, I know that there's been some court conferences, host or high scores on stack out for the state, and some don't, and all that stuff. Is there gonna be like a policy on that? Or, I mean, will this December 15th be the final, or whichever one?
I'm gonna try and answer that for you, and then Larry can correct me.
Okay.
We're going away from the top 10 list. They will not be published this year because of that issue we had. Certain conferences would provide information each week. Some conferences would never provide any information. So in terms, and you had sport shot conditions, you had house shot conditions. So we've just decided to move away from the top 10 list for this year. However, we're gonna still ask the coordinators to submit highlights from each week. And then we'll publish those highlights on the team app.
Thank you.
All right, the tournament advancement numbers, again, nothing set in stone here. This is just some guidelines in terms of what we used last year, just so you guys have a little bit of background. All of the tournament ratios.
Mike, there's a question.
Yep.
Back to what you were just talking about in terms of advancement, based on conference average and standings. So this kind of goes back to a little bit ago, you said no free passes. You know, people get in and don't have enough conference. So is this stating that if I'm in a conference that has lower abilities, I get less players advanced?
No.
Here?
No.
No? Okay.
Based on the number of players. If you got a conference with nobody over 110, and another conference has nobody under 200, the advancement numbers, if they both have 5 teams, are gonna be the same.
So it's not based off of individual averages?
No, absolutely not. Just participation, yes.
Okay, I agree with that, thank you.
So the ratios that were employed last year, and I don't see anything changing this year. For the sectionals, individuals, 1 every 6, both on the boys and girls side. So if you happen to go to a 7th player, then you'd get the 2nd spot. If you have 12 players, you still have 2 spots. If you get to the 13th player, you get 3 spots. So it's 1 and 6 for the sectionals on the individual side. The teams ratio is 1 and 4 for the boys and 1 and 3 for the girls. Regionals, we used a 1 and 4 relationship in the singles for both boys and girls. And on the teams, it was 1 in every 2.5. And then advancing out of semi-state to the finals, it was individuals with 1 and 2, and the teams again 1 and 2.5. These will be all based on our late availability at the sites, as well as our targeted number for our finals for the boys and girls teams and singles. Right now, our tournament targets for 2026 will be 12 boys teams and 8 to 10 girls teams, depending on how many girls teams we see competing this year. And we're gonna, again, target 30 boys at the finals and 18 girls. And again, that's based on the participation ratios. If we do see more girls, that 18 may jump up. But based on last year's numbers, this is where we would see the finals at, and then we work ourselves back to determine these ratios based on our latent bed availability. Key thing to make sure is, or understand, the ratios will be consistent across all the sites and within each division. So boys team across all the sites will be the same. Girls team across all the sites will be the same. Okay. And that'll be the same at each stage of the tournament. And then we've added the 3rd semi-state to better manage crowd control, and it may allow us to even increase some of our advancers from regionals to semi-state. But once we see our numbers, those will come up. Other points of emphasis for the tournament, again, all bowlers may bowl singles. You got 1 game in, you are eligible to bowl singles. Here's a change. For the state tournament, we're only going to allow bowlers 6 bowling balls in the center. So no more than 6 bowling balls. And that again is another kind of space or crowd control item that was added. Again, advancing positions, there's been some confusion on this the last couple of years. Just to highlight it, if there is a tie for the final advancing position to the next round of the state tournament, from going the sectionals to regionals or regionals to semi-state, tie for that last spot, it is a 1-game roll-off for singles and a 1 Baker game roll-off for the team. It's not a 9th and 10th frame anymore for singles. It is a 1-game roll-off for that final advancing spot. Again, tournament rosters, again, are limited to 10 players. Preliminary roster is due by December 15th. This roster becomes fixed at the start of sectionals. Only 7 of the 10 players are allowed to compete during each stage of the tournament, and these 7 must be identified prior to the start of each stage. So that is no different from last year. It's just trying to emphasize that. Yes?
So on that 1-game roll-off, that will be done the date of the tournament?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay, so it won't be a future date?
Nope.
Okay.
So once you know there's a tie for the last spot, the tournament director will grab those 2 bowlers, find a competition pair that neither one of them bowled on or that both of them will bowl on.
Thank you.
And they'll have that 1 game. Yes, sir.
And if, after that 1-game roll-off, they both bowl 185,
Then it goes to a 9th and 10th. That's in the detail of the rules, but it would move to the 9th and 10th at that point, yes. Okay, where are we at? Okay. Tournament rosters of 10 players, we went through. And again, we're asking for that initial one, December 15th. That way, we'll be able to go through it and bump up these rosters against all of the eligibility requirements that we have, and give the coaches a heads up if there should be any ineligible players on that 10-player roster, so that they can make those changes. So this will just give us an ability to to kind of provide a heads up before sectionals, of any ineligible players. And then the coaches' dress code, we've already went through that again. I don't think we need to add any more commentary on that. Some crowd control enhancements, again, that we are putting in place. As Larry mentioned, all admission tickets will be done online this season. No cash sales at the gate. Again, this will help control our numbers, and where we need to cut off early sales, we will. No outside ladders or chairs are gonna be allowed at any of the tournament sites. This is kind of both a crowd control and a liability issue for the proprietors. If there's a medical related exemption, or there will be medical related exceptions to that. So if you should have a grandmother or grandparent or anybody that requires some kind of special seating requirements, please let the coach know or the coordinator know, and then they'll get with Larry, and Larry will make sure that the center is aware of that.
All right, does that include sectionals, regionals, semi-state and state?
That is for the entire
Tournament?
all
Okay,
stages of
just
the
making
tournament.
sure.
And then again, we've added that third semi-state, so hopefully that will ease a lot of the crowd issues we had last year and keep the fire marshals out of our keep us out of their crosshairs.
And Mike, just to follow up with that question, are there gonna have bleachers available then?
State finals, there will be bleachers.
What about sectionals and regionals?
That will be up to the center, but just state finals is the only one that will have bleachers available for certain.
Okay, so you're saying from sectionals all the way through the state. So where we're having our sectionals, they have no, seating for any spectators. And during the normal competition, they've told people that they'll have to bring their own chairs in and so forth, if they want to be able to sit. So at sectionals, when I have no spectator seating, they can't bring anything in to sit on.
We'll have to look at those situations on a case-by-case basis. If the proprietors are going to say, I don't have enough seating, we'll have to make sure the proprietor is aligned with that from their liability standpoint. And we'll,
I mean, they totally remodeled the center and they took out all the spectator seating, so, all they got is, bowler seating. And, Larry, you were there last weekend, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
so, when we encounter those, any kind of heads up that you can give us, we'll make whatever adjustments that may be necessary for that.
Okay.
But again. Yes.
Question, so the centers have all predetermined what their numbers are, correct, and what they can handle? That's
By law.
consensus?
By law, every building has a capacity.
Correct.
Someplace around in this room is probably a capacity number, what the capacity of this room is, what the capacity is in that bar. I think it's 51, I think I saw last night. No, every bowling center knows what their capacity is.
Correct, so my question becomes is, as a parent, I'm not talking as a bowler or coach, as a parent, when will they be notified that there's no longer any tickets for sale? The day that they're at the gate or at the door?
Well, since they're pre-purchasing their tickets, the number that we're allowing into the building will be known for weeks beforehand.
Okay, so they can pre-purchase before the day of?
Yeah, they can pre-purchase once I know the sites of all the sectionals, I can add those. At any time, I can add the regionals. The only problem is regionals, semi-state, and state, until I see the numbers actual of how many teams we have, then I gotta take the capacity, reduce that for all the coaches and the bowlers, then I get a number of available tickets.
Okay.
And again, we work with the bowling centers, and, if we need to adjust that number up or down, we can do that all the way up to the time of bowling. So, if it becomes an issue, I I say, our problem was a semi-state, and we think we've eliminated that problem, so we should have no issue with it anyway.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Mike, real quick, this is probably more for Larry. Are you gonna be sending out weekly, reports again this year as far as who's done safe sport, who's done their waivers?
Yes, I'll be sending it just like before, that we will get reports sent out to all the coordinators. I generally send them out weekly. If coordinator needed an updated one, I gave it to him most times within a half hour if I was at the house, and I could send one out. If we get this new program going, you might be getting it live. Again, I don't know how that's going, but right now, we are gonna be doing this. Just also know that September 13th, we are having a coordinators meeting for all 24 coordinators. First time this has happened, so that all the coordinators will be on the same page and getting all what's going on. Maybe by then I'll have more information on what it is, but right now, the way it happened last year, all coordinators will get a list with each team listed separately, that what bowler had sanctioned, that they're paid, if they're safe sport, if it's done, and then they can pass it on to their respective teams.
Thank you.
Yeah, homeschool. Is there any time coming that is gonna be eliminated? Because I know different schools have different rules, and I know there's high school teams that have homeschool kids bowling because of their school's rule. But yet, my homeschool students have to go to school once class day. So I cannot participate, and with the way society's going, with more and more kids being homeschooled, once they go through middle school, then they're told, hey, sorry, you can't play no more. And that's something I think needs to be shot down.
I fully understand. I've addressed it to the board, at our meeting that we had for future, what the plans are in the future years, and it is something we're looking at. We wanna make sure all of our ducks are in a row on how we're gonna do it. It's like I say, it won't happen this season, but it's something that's on our board, on our list that we're looking at. Because talking with several schools through the year, we already, like, explained that since the pandemic, the amount of homeschoolers is grown big time. And the online schools, the academies, there are so many different languages of them now that some of the academies are part of the school. They can do the club sports, but they can't do the IHA stuff, because the IHA rule is you gotta have at least one class. I have found many schools don't even honor that one, that they gotta be in there the full day. So the school rules change all over the place. So it's not even apples and apples dealing with the schools and what they're doing, because each school system does it differently. I've been in, like I said, I've been in contact with several academy and schools, and it's just something, in the future board meetings that we'll be discussing and see if we can come up with something. You know, middle school has the homeschoolers in there, because it's a singles competition, it's not, you know, we're losing a lot of bowlers in high school that we can grab, and we just need to know that we do it right. We have verification right, so we're no super teams being built. So there's a lot more to that than just saying that Susie can bowl because she's going to the academy that is sponsored by the school system. There is academies, part of school systems, that are not part of the school. They can't do anything in the school. So schools aren't even the same on the academies. So it's a full thing that it needs to be fully looked into, and before we come up with the idea.
No more questions? All right, now, this is why you're really here. We'll get to the good part of this presentation, or this session. I would like to introduce our key speaker, Ms. Tamara Petrin. Tamara is a licensed social worker and mental performance coach who is dedicated to advancing the sport of bowling. She's a former collegiate competitor for the University of Pikeville and Wichita State University. She earned 3 top 3 Rookie of the Year honors before her career was derailed by performance anxiety. That experience has fueled her mission at Mindset Gear, where she equips youth bowlers, both competitive and recreational, with tools to manage their emotions, build confidence, and to thrive. Tamara partners with bowlers, parents, and coaches to strengthen communication, resilience, and growth, in creating a foundation for athletic excellence and lifelong success. Please give it up for Tamara Petrin.
Oh, good. Okay. All right, well, good morning. Hello, everyone. We might have some technical flexibility, so just go with me here. I may not be back and forth, but you all have the slides in front of you, and for the most part, I'll try to do my best to go in order. I was telling the folks earlier today that I kind of tend to go in different directions just based off of what's happening in the room. So just kind of flex with me, but I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to be in a room with a lot of passionate people that share a passion of mine, and that's bowling. And even more so, it's being able to support, mentor, coach, just be in the presence of young people because they are so inspirational. They have so much joy and also just a lot of raw edges. And I don't know about you guys, but I just really like prickly So I'm just kind of one of those strange people. I guess that's why I got into social work. So, as they shared, my name is Tamara Petrin, and I am a licensed mental health professional. I've been doing this for the past, like 15 years. Anything from, 0 to 5, adolescence to young adulthood, working with parents, everything from your basic community mental health in schools, children that have been in psychiatric rehab. I've done all the things. And currently, when I'm not doing mindset gear, I'm supporting children and their families that are experiencing cancer. And so my heart truly is dedicated to some of the toughest things that we can experience on this earth, but being able to pour it into mindset gear and being able to connect my passion and my experiences for bowling is a really, really awesome opportunity, and so I'm grateful every day. Today, I hope that we're able to play some games, have some fun, and give you a couple tools and resources and things to use with your bowlers. You all have various ranges of experience, various ranges of time that you can commit to different things within your high school teams and other responsibilities that you have. And so my goal here is to be able to take the experience that I have to coach thousands of youth bowlers across the nation, and being able to kind of see from a different perspective what are the pain points, what are the lapses and gaps in helping them to get where they want to go, while also being able to support you when you may not have that capacity. So as we get started today, I want to have some fun. So I'm looking for currently one volunteer who thinks they can play puppet. One volunteer, that's it. Perfect. All right, thank you. I'm gonna say it. I do believe in volunteering people, so if you don't volunteer, that might happen. All right. Hello. Thank you. Are you familiar with puppet?
No.
No. Never heard of it. Never played it.
No.
See, this blows my mind. That happened at Junior Gold this past year too. That there's youth people that have no idea. I said, what? I am of that age that I am too old for something. But no, you're not either. You don't know what it is. Okay, well, it's okay. All right. Well, bucket is a really cool game, and the perfect score is 100. It's not 300, just 100. Just 100. You get a point when you follow directions. How do you feel about your following directions skills?
He gives directions. Can others weigh in on that?
Okay, Becky.
There's no time limit. However, I say there's no overall time limit. There is a time in which it does want you to respond. And if you're too late, it'll say, like you're done, okay? But other than that, yeah, the concept of the game is pretty simple. You just listen to what it tells you to do. So I'll tell you how to get it started, and it'll say bop it. And so if it says bop it, you bop it. You just press. And then if it says pull it, you pull it. And then if it says twist it, you twist it. Easy enough?
Sure.
Okay. Going into this, how do you feel right now?
Okay.
Okay's not
Just
feeling.
don't get confused. It starts going really, really fast or something.
So some apprehension about the unknown. Yeah. Okay. Any worries or fears or nervousness doing it in front of
What could go wrong?
what could go wrong? There you go. Okay. Well, like I said, the perfect score is 100, but you didn't even know that this existed. So maybe I'm going to set your goal for 20. Fair enough?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All
Your
right.
rules.
It is my rules, that's right. All right. Well, to begin, you will just simply pull it and then just follow the directions. All right, now hit pop it.
I didn't hear.
I score 100. Bop it. Yow! I remember my first time playing Bop it.
All right, well, you get a little off, so you didn't move 1 point.
Said bop it.
That's right. But you gotta do it just a little bit faster.
This
I'm going to sleep.
Okay. Okay, so we identified kind of how you felt going into it, but what about now that it's done, when you ended, how did you feel?
Or here.
Okay, yeah. It's just, hearing is the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
here.
then you're trying to anticipate, which one is he gonna do, so you can get there quickly,
Yeah,
one at a
definitely.
time.
Yeah. What about you guys? How did you feel just sitting and watching? Who in here has played Bop It before? Like you knew what it was? Who still has no idea like this friend?
I do now.
Okay. Did anyone out here just like watching have some like nervousness or just like anticipation of like, I wanna know how far he's gonna get, like, or he's so close, oh my gosh, and how many people wanted to like almost step in, like I would feel better if I was doing it. Anybody kind of feel that way? Some of you are like, better him than me. Okay. So I love what you said, that, relatively it's pretty easy to do conceptually. All you have to do is listen and follow directions, right? But that impacts the way in which we are able to listen. The space in which the speaker is happening impacts how we can hear it. But when you heard you were anticipating. You said it was hard to control that piece, but also follow directions. True?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's the reason that I introduced this game, because Bop It is a lot like bowling. Okay? So bowling at a conceptual level is very simple. You roll this round surface. I'm done with you. Thank you so much. You roll this round bowling ball down 60 feet of lane to knock down pins. Yes, like that is the act of bowling. If you roll the ball down 60 feet of lanes, whether it's on the lane or in the gutter, that is the act of bowling. So conceptually, very easy to do. However, it becomes complicated when we add in all these external things, right? We're adding in oil, we're adding in the types of bowling balls, we're adding in like the ability to see our scores. We're adding in now there are like shot clocks in professional bowling. We're adding in the team environment behind us. We're adding in that there are other people competing alongside us. Imagine you had a hard time hearing by yourself when we were all pretty quiet. What if I had two people at the same time? That would have been pretty difficult because you might hear the other person's. So there are a lot of different factors that play into how we're able to show up. And so even though we might have the most knowledge of conceptually, I can play this game, conceptually, I can bowl, whether we want to feel something other than confidence, it's to some degree out of our control. And so today, I'm hopeful that we're able to give you more ways to kind of like see it from the bowler's perspective from a different way, but also kind of have that self-check of like, wait a second, they're having a hard time. It's a lot like bowling. I wonder what they're anticipating, that they might be missing information, that we can back it down to the simplicities of the game and get them back on track. So, with that being said, let's see if I can get us to another space here. All right, so here's our session roadmap. Bop It, done, perfect. Top 3 barriers of high school coaching. We'll kind of go through that. And then we'll go through some tips and tricks to do that. We've done that, perfect. This is a little bit about me and some old photos, but as they introduced, I did youth bowling since I was 5. I grew up in a really small bowling center in Kannapolis, North Carolina, so just north of Charlotte. I did all the things. I did youth bowling, I did travel bowling, I did all the local stuff. I bowled junior golds. I was amazingly recruited to bowl for Pikeville and had a great time. And then I transferred to bowl for WSU, and it was during both of those times, as well as my youth bowling experience, that I recognized that I had a hard time competing for me. I competed a lot for other people, and not necessarily the pressure from like, I need to perform well for my mom or my dad, but it was more of, I had really, really, really And that got in my way. And I am still flabbergasted to this day that we're still facing this issue in bowling. There are so many youth bowlers, you guys know this, that have a hard time getting out of their own way. And I think it's kind of ridiculous that in our sport, more bowlers don't have access to mental and emotional performance coaches. And if they do, they're probably already elite. And then also if they do, I've heard from many, many youth bowlers that they're going to sports psychologists that don't understand bowling. Cool, okay. Or, you know, I grew up in a really small town with really hardworking parents, but my dad, still to this day, barters. He's a 35, 40-year construction carpenter, and so many of my tournaments were paid for because he would do work on somebody's house because we didn't have the extra money for me to go and bowl these things. But it was my dream and he made it happen. So sometimes access to these things just costs too much money, and so kids don't have that opportunity too. And so that's part of the mission of what we're doing, is to make sure that every youth bowler across the nation has access to something like this, and you guys are truly the catalyst to making that happen. So let's move forward. All right, so in bowling we commonly say the mental, like bowling is what? Physical and mental, 100%. And I agree. However, we saw even in Bop It, it's not just mental, it's not just focus, it's not just have fun, it's not just smile, it's emotional. We have to manage our emotions to then make decisions. And I didn't just make this up, it's just the way that our brain works. And so when you have players that are feeling any sort of big feeling, so this is a cycle that everything that I train on is rooted in. So our feelings influence our behaviors. If we're feeling nervous, how many times have you guys seen a bowler's feeling nervous? This is their first tournament, they're a cute little freshman, they've never bowled before, and now they've done practices and they're going into tournaments, and you just see them like deer in the headlights. What are we doing? How did we get here? Yeah. And then what happens when they have that deer in the headlight look and they're on the approach and they make their first shot? Got her? Anything else? Yeah.
I actually had a kid throw up on the lanes.
Well,
I mean, that's pretty extreme, but yeah.
yes, exactly. Right. So, exactly. So now, you know, their feelings are so big that they're not able to have a behavior, and in this way you can interpret behavior as literally like the behavior of throwing up. I often refer to it as a less graphic, but a behavior of the action of throwing the ball. So the action of throwing the ball now is not what they desired, it's not what they practiced, it's not what they planned for, but it happened because they were nervous, and now they have some thoughts, right? Oh my gosh, I threw a better ball. What are these people thinking? My coach is gonna hate me, my teammates are gonna think that I'm awful, the coach is gonna pull me. I just did that in front of all these people, right? The thoughts just happen and happen. What if I do it again? Now I've got no despair, I didn't even hit a pin the first time, now I have to hit all 10, right? The thoughts happen. And so then we go back into our feelings again, right? So I talked about, well, I'm already embarrassed, I was already nervous, and I've already thrown up, or maybe I want to, and I've got to do it again. So do we expect their next shot to be any better? No. And I promise you, the solution is not, hey, it's okay, you'll get it next time. You all have great intentions. You all do. Sometimes that positivity statement is great, so I like don't not do that. But also understand that we have to meet them where their emotional piece of their brain is just like radiating. Just imagine this back lower part of their brain. This is where like our primal things happen. It's that fight, flight, or freeze type of space that happens back here. when they're in those big emotions, they're only operating back here. Our goal is to help every bowler get from back here to up here. Okay, so emotions first, then decisions. And it's kind of like a highway. We just have to get them out of, hey, this is scary, I'm unsafe, I want to run away, I want to shut down and never come back, to, wait a second, I can do this. And now that I'm feeling safe, I'm feeling comfortable, I know what I can control, now I can make decisions. Now I can understand what decisions are even possible. But we can't get up here if we're back here. Strategy, okay? So, making those connections is in this cycle, okay? So these arrows are happening, the space in the arrows is intentional. I'm gonna give you some exercises and things to fill the gaps. Think of it as, you know, we have to clear the accident, or if this kind of like cycle is rolling backwards down a hill, we want to stop it. We want to put a log there. And there's very easy ways to do that. So, top 3 barriers that coaches face. Do these resonate with you? That bowlers spiral or shut down after mistakes? Yeah? Lack of ownership, accountability, planning, responsibility. I see this a lot. Inconsistent coaching of mental game. So you guys might say, well, yeah, I know the mental game is important, but I've got 87 other things that I've got to tackle with this player before we can get to mental game. Or, I know mental game is important. I try to make sure that I'm balancing that piece, but in bowling, it's way more common, even with the elite, like our silver and gold level coaches, that they're coaching physical game, lane play. They're coaching these things that are very tangible, seeing and manipulating, and this emotions piece, we don't talk a lot about that. We just kind of say, like, they got to get it together. So, let's hop into the first one. Emotional regulation is tough. They shut down or spiral when things go wrong. So, what are your typical solutions? Anyone brave? Share, like, what's something that you do when you have an athlete that's just shut down?
Try to get them to breathe and refocus.
Breathe and refocus? I heard something over here.
Get them out of that environment.
Okay.
Try to get them away from, it just calm down. Just, reset.
Yeah,
Yeah, if they can like take a walk,
Yeah.
just out of that immediate area.
absolutely. What else?
Just go back to the basics.
Okay. What are the basics?
Forget about everything else and go back to the basics. Set up, roll the ball the way you know how to roll it. Just let it happen. Don't think about it. Just let it happen.
Yeah, yeah. So, you guys named exactly what it is. How do we fill those gaps? You named it. You named breathing. You named, like, leaving the environment to this idea of I need to get away from it, but when I'm walking away, my attention and the things that I'm focused on are shifting. And when I get back to the lanes, I focus my energy on, ideally, the things that I can control, right? Just back to the basics. I take all this extra fluff out of it. However, we have a hard time committing to those things, right? So your bowler walks away, they come back, and immediately they're put in this place of overwhelm again. I've got the teammate that made me angry, so now I'm starting to feel nervous, or the teammate that bullied me or put me down or rolled their eyes at me, whether they intentionally did it or not. I've got the score where everyone is filled a frame except for me, so no one has to even look at me, they just see, or like, no one has to tell me that I messed up, I can see it. And now I'm expected to go back to the basics, but I have a ton of self-doubt in the basics, right? I felt like I was always doing the basics, and that didn't work the first time, so now coach is saying do it again, and I don't know if I can do it, right? Again, everything you said is right, except we have a lot of self-doubt. And so how do we help them to actually trust that they can do those things? And the answer is a reset routine. So let's talk about what a reset routine looks like. And here's where this is what you can build in all the time. Okay, so number one, language matters. Language matters. And this hopefully isn't kind of a new concept to you, but how many players look at a lane pattern sheet, or maybe just in conversation, you know, they're used to their own house pattern and being able to play lanes a certain way, and then, oh, all of a sudden, they hear that maybe the house pattern here is different than the house pattern there, and here's why. And now they've made an assumption about it. And because of that assumption, they are counting themselves out. Okay, so this is a little bit easier when we're talking about sport pattern variations, but I had a conversation with a girl this past week, and she's getting ready to bowl in EYT in Chicago, and she said, you know, I was like, well, how do you feel about it? And she said, well, they always put out tough patterns. I said, oh, well, tell me about it. And she said, well, one time they put out a 50-foot flat pattern. Okay. Well, what makes that tough? Well, you know, it's really hard to get the ball to make the reaction, and she goes into this big whole thing. And I said, well, on the lane sheet, the lane pattern sheet, does it say, you know, this pattern, the name of that pattern or whatever, equals tough? Does it say that? No. Well, what does it tell you? And she tells me, I mean, she's a very smart bowler. Parents own a pro shop. Very smart bowler. She says, well, here's what the volume is, here's what the ratio is, here's the type of oil, here's this. Yeah, absolutely. Does any of that equal tough? Equal hard? No, it doesn't. We make it that way. We make it hard. So we have the power, it starts with you guys, we have the power to help them recognize oil is oil. That's how we bowl. Honestly, I'd much rather have 50-foot flat than nothing at all. I have a very hard time with lost and half the lane. So, we make that choice, right? So oil is oil. Bowling balls are bowling balls. Yes, they are designed to, you know, make the pathway to get to the pins vary, but we can control what that looks like. So that's just one example of how language matters. Another one is, I'm going to use junior goal, but in comparison for you guys, like when you get to sectional states, those like big things that you've been preparing for all year, right? At the beginning of the year, I imagine you guys say, you know, we're so excited to be here. Our goal this year is to do what? What's your goal this year?
Just to give out the whole team.
That's a big step. Number one, have a roster. I love that. What's your goal, my friend in the blue hat? Win. Exactly. Yeah.
Compete.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so when you have the goal of, let's fill a roster, let's knock down pins, maybe we want to set another goal after that, I love it. We eventually want to win, that's why we do this, right? We're competitive. But you're not going to be shy, I don't imagine, from day one saying, we're here to win. Let's have the mindset to work hard, we're here to win. And that's great, I want you to set that goal, right? Otherwise, what are we doing? We want to bring home that trophy. We want to bring home those accolades for our community. We want to build that opportunity for our kids. But we have to also remember that how we refer to these tournaments embeds pressure. So, oh gosh, you know, in order to win, we've got to get through sectionals, and then we've got to get through this, and we've got to get through that. And so when they hear the word sectionals, they immediately feel, oh man, this is the hardest thing that we're going to bowl. They're going to make it difficult because we're competing against other people, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to have to be perfect. Your bowler's going to say, I have to do X to win. right? But remember, language matters. Is sectionals truly any different of an environment than any other time that they bowl? No, and you guys know that, right? You're not intentionally trying to put pressure on them when you say these tournaments or sectionals and wanting to win. Like, that's not your intent at all. But it's the way that our kids interpret it. It's the way that their parents interpret it and then place additional pressure on top of it, right? So bowling is bowling no matter where we are. It's the same 60 feet of lane, 12 foot of approach, oil exists, 10 pins exist, the gutters exist, the scoreboards exist, the same way to knock down pins exists, the fact that I'm bowling against other people exists. None of that changes. Your field of play does not change. So when we help them recognize it's the same basics, then they're able to remove some of that pressure. So I always coach my players and their parents to remove the names of the tournaments. Bless you. It's not sectionals, it's not junior gold, it's not EYT, it's not whatever. Each time we go and bowl, we're going to bowl. Each time we go to bowl a tournament, it's a tournament, but it's truly no different than going to bowl and competing. If we are intentional every single time that we go, that intentionality should not change event to event, practice to practice, game day to game day. So the next piece is our post-shot routine and thinking box. And so I'm going to do more of this with the kiddos. So you're welcome to stick around and kind of see that, but for the sake of time, I won't go through too many details. But I help bowlers recognize that we can take some pressure off of ourselves when we take away the pressure of, I have to perform well in 10 frames, or each frame, or every shot. So now we've got 2 shots in a frame, to I've actually got 8 opportunities to have a checkbox for success in 1 frame. I don't know about you guys, but even though the perfectionist in me wants to be perfect, and that 10 number sounds awesome, as an adult, I'd much rather have greater odds of, 8 times 12, or 8 times 10, so 80 opportunities than just 10. And our kids feel that way too. And so we teach them how to measure their performance through 4 key pieces. For the sake of this conversation and the reset routine, we're going to talk about the latter 2. So after the shot is thrown, going back to our cycle, what do kids typically do? What do adults typically do? I throw the shot, what happens?
They go sit run off the lane.
Wow, say that again.
They run off the lane.
The bowler just runs off. Perfect.
Yeah, they just go sit down and don't think about it.
Okay, what else? There was something else back over here. No?
The reaction shot.
Their reaction, yeah. So absolutely. So sometimes it's just like, ooh, I know that it wasn't what I wanted it to do, and so like I can see it. I may not even have a thought. My fight, flight, or freeze is in overdrive, and I'm running. So absolutely. I would also challenge that after some time, they throw the shot. It may not be what they want. There is probably a thought, right? The thought is, ooh. The thought is, that was not great. The thought was, oh my gosh, that again. Or the thought was, maybe on the opposite side, positive, like, oh yeah. You know, like, we have these immediate thoughts. And then from the foul line to the back of the approach, and typically beyond, we have feelings around it. How many times the bowler got up there, they really wanted to strike, maybe they were on strings, a string of strikes. Not the pins, a string of strikes. I don't say those things now. They're on a string of strikes and they wrapped the 10 pin. You got some hot-headed players. I know, I was one of them. Still one of them if you ask my husband at league. But anyways, wraps a 10 pin and they come back and they're just like, they see it over their face, punching their hand, they're slapping their leg, they're stomping. Might be mouthing things you don't want them to mouth, right? Again, not telling you anything you don't know. But that continues on, right? And they have a really hard time of shutting it off. And honestly, there's nothing you can say, hey, come on, get it together. Get your head back in it. Show up for your peers. Whatever it is that you're saying, they're still fuming. You can see it coming out of their ears. They are radiating heat. control and help these bowlers train is after you throw the shot, we're actually going to train ourselves. I always kind of reference like turning our ears down. We're turning everything off. The goal is to not have a thought period, okay? The goal is to turn that down because we want to channel all of our energy into our eyesight. Bowling happens when we can feel in control of what's happening in the variable. And in this case, the variable is the oil and how it's moving on the lane, right? In addition to the topography. And so we need to be able to watch what's happening. Well, to watch what's happening, we need to understand our ball motion. We need to understand pin motion. Most importantly, we need to understand pin motion. But we can't do that if we're having a thought and we're already having a solution in our mind. Like, oh, that came off my hand wrong. I didn't stay behind the ball. Next time I'm going to do X. Oh, by the way, the rack is down. I didn't see what happened. I just knew that I didn't throw it well. Doesn't matter how you threw it in that moment. You need to know what's going on. There's information there that you didn't throw it well or not. It might have been well enough that there's information. Even if you throw it poorly, there's information. We can't see it if we're thinking, so turn it down. Then from the fouling to the back of the approach, yeah, have your emotion. Okay? We need to let it out within reason. Okay? You guys set what that reason is. Let them be human and have some feeling. But you have ground rules, that's fine. The minute they step off the approach, it's done. No more. You have 7 seconds. Have the feeling. Be angry, be frustrated, be annoyed, be happy. Then we're done. Now, I imagine you might have this question. But coach, hey Tamara, in theory, yeah, that sounds great. But you know that I know that those bowlers, they can't just turn it off. They can't. They can't just turn it off. You're right. It will take practice. It will be hard. And so they have the emotion, and then we build in another layer to this. So before they get to thought process, remember, we have to control this. We have to control this big feelings piece. And that comes in what you guys were talking about. Visualization, breathing, refocusing. But how do we do that? Okay? So, I will answer that in a second, but let's go back to this for a second. The other big piece of this is acknowledging, setting a boundary, and following through. Acknowledging, setting a boundary, and following through. So, when you're talking with your players, acknowledge that they're having a feeling. Like, yeah, I see you're frustrated. I see in your body or in your facials that that wasn't what you expected. I see it. Okay? I know you're feeling annoyed. You were on a string. You felt really excited to have that shot going into it for your team. Yeah. Connect with your players. That's what this is about. You're here for that, so do it. Okay? But that doesn't mean that just because they're having feelings that they could just get to have feelings and then nothing else happens, right? Like, absolutely not. Okay? So, acknowledge the feeling. Now set the boundary. Okay, I know that you're feeling frustrated, but remember, that frustration has to stop. Off the approach, right? You stepped off. So let's shut it down. Okay? You had your 7 seconds. It's time to shut it down. Set the boundary. Okay? Now follow through. This is where we encourage them to do the things that I'll get to in a second. Okay? So, I noticed you're still processing. That's fine. In 1 minute, I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about it. So some players, right, we all know this, right, when we're, and even as bowlers ourselves, when we're frustrated, we're not ready to hear. We're not ready to talk. We're not ready to do any of that. But as coaches, our time is limited and we still want to be able to impart that knowledge on them. They're not going to hear you. Again, this is not information that's new to you. And so now we frustrated ourselves because they're frustrated and they're not listening to us. So now we've got 2 frustrated people. The solution is give them a minute, okay? But let them know that you're giving them a minute. Set the boundary. Hey, I'm gonna come back to you in 1 minute. We're talking about this. I'm gonna have a minute and you're gonna have a minute. Easy peasy. Kids do better when we give them boundaries and structure. And we give them some freedom in between, right? They don't get to rule the world. They'd like to. Got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old who think that they can at my own house. Give them the structure and the boundary. Okay. Any questions about this before we hop into the next one? And we'll have time for questions too. Okay, so this is what we were talking about. When we step off the approach, we still have big feelings. And so breathing, focus, attention, visualization, guided imagery, these are great ways to help them to regain that control. Here's a picture of my girls. And so my eldest daughter started competing for the first time this summer. She's grown up in a bowling center since she was a week old. But we started giving them these cards. And so these cards are absolutely doable with young people, which means they're absolutely doable with your high schoolers and middle schoolers. So this is what that printable would look like. And so these cards have different exercises, right? So sometimes when our brain is in that big emotional thing, we can't make decisions, which means we can't just say, hey, do you want to do this or this, without giving like an image or a color, something that's very simple to make a decision. So being able to have some of these cards of like, okay, buddy, like you're going to do 7-11 breathing or you're going to do 4-2-6 breathing. Which one do you want to do? So we set the boundary, but they still get a choice. So they do that exercise, and then we go into the next step. So being able to say like, hey, I know you need to breathe. Usually they'll roll their eyes at you because you're like, I breathe every day. I don't need to do more breathing. I know, I've heard it all. Okay, so barrier number 2, ownership and accountability. So I hear this all the time. The bowlers don't take ownership of their game or their mindset. They're very quick to blame others. They're very quick to blame the lanes. They're very quick to blame the pins, or the ball, or the oil, or their shoes, or anything and everything. Yeah? And the parents are too. So, my question for you all, because we all do it, like I know I'm kind of making some jokes, but we fall into this trap too. But are you solving the problem for you, or are you helping them solve the problem for them? When we coach, we don't just say like, ooh, sign me up, I want to coach bowling, if we don't actually want to impart knowledge or life experience into them, right? Like, that's why we do this. Otherwise, we've got 87,000 seconds in a day or something, like we would choose something else. But you all are here because you're passionate about these bowlers. You're passionate about the sport. You're passionate about being able to dedicate your time to pouring into them. So sometimes we're quick to want to solve the problem for them. Okay? And unfortunately, these kids are way too smart, and AI is way too fast. And it's so easy for them to say, oh, that was a problem. I know my coach is going to tell me how to fix it. I know AI is going to tell me how to fix it. Why do I need to figure it out? That takes too much time. That takes effort that I don't need to apply because somebody else is going to do it for me. So whether we're trying to create that mentality in them or not, we do, and that wasn't our intention. So my challenge to you when we're thinking about, man, that kid just has no accountability. Did we do that? Are we doing that? How are we doing that? Because I bet we are, even when we don't need to. I know I'm guilty of it. So here's kind of a basic, like typical training progression for a teen bowler. Bowler's brand new, they learn basic targeting, footwork, then they have like more equipment, advanced footwork. Then they get into more advanced targeting. So somewhere in this middle, like dark blue section, is where I see bowlers start to fry out. And I bet you see it here too. Because learning basic targeting, learning the basics of bowling, easy peasy. I have to roll this big ball down the lane and hit some pins. Okay, right? I can do that. And then, oh, if I look at this and I stand here, I can hit more pins? Oh, I can do that. Oh, if I throw it a little harder, or if I turn my hand a little this way, or oh, the beauty when a bowling ball fits your hand. You just took somebody that averaged 101 to now averaging 160 in a year. Yeah, that part's easy. But do you know what we also did? We set their expectation that they're going to do shoot in bowling. Unfortunately, that's not how it goes. We go shoot, and then oftentimes they go here to go up again, but they get stuck in here because they think learning the rest of it is going to be that fast. And so I would challenge you, when you're working with your bowlers that are around that 170 to 190 range, and then it happens again, that 190 to 210 range, to talk with them about what that progression looks like and why is it so difficult? Like, why did they see such a big increase and now they're struggling? Well, the basics were basics, right? Basics. But now we've reached a point in our game where I have 7 different skills to learn, master, and then choose which one's the right one to knock down the pins when I need to make adjustments. That's complicated. And oh, by the way, I need to do that while I have the pressure around me. Nearly impossible. So, how do we, again, address when players are needing to have accountability? And I talked at first about just challenging ourselves to say, who are we solving the problem for? But the next one is inviting curiosity, right? And so if we're not immediately jumping into solving the problem, you still have knowledge and wisdom, and I 100% want you to share that with them, okay? But the way in which we do that is going to look different. So the way in which we do that is asking questions, and not just leading questions. That happened, I had a conversation with someone yesterday about that. But very specific questions that drive the learning, okay? So the first question is, hey, what did you notice or observe that time? I promise you this will be their first response. Well, I didn't get it off my hand well. Okay, that may be true. What did you notice if you didn't get it off your hand well? What did you notice about that? Like, what made you say it didn't get off your hand well? Oh, well, my thumb stuck in it longer. That's what I care about, right? Like, what is that thing that we could change, number 1. And then 2, I also care about what did you notice on the lane, right? So, you know, what happened in the first 15 feet? What happened when the ball got to the break point? What happened when it went through the pins? What happened? Oh, well, I don't know. Okay, well, that's where we got to start. That's where we go back to the basics, right? Okay, if we don't know what's happening, and we got so caught up here that my thumb got stuck, I need to help you turn it down. Okay, next shot, we're really going to focus on, it doesn't matter what happened here, I want you to watch what happened and then come back and report. Okay, next, was it what you expected? No. Okay, how might you get to what you did expect it? How might you get it off your thumb better? How might you help the ball not skid as far? How might you help the ball hook earlier? How might you do X? Okay. Next is, still don't know. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I wonder what would happen if you need a little bit more ball speed. I wonder what would happen if you raise the ball a little bit more. What do you think would happen? Could do this, could do this. Oh, okay. I wonder what would happen if you moved your eyes in a little bit more. I wonder what would happen maybe you paint a couple options. I wonder what would if we do this. I wonder what would if we do this, or I wonder this. Which one? Which one? What if we picked one of those? Which one would you pick? Well, I think I would pick this one. Okay, great. Let's try it. It's exactly what you were doing, right? You know, with the end in mind, you're the coach, what you think would work best in this moment. But we also 100% know that the minute that we say, hey, you need to do this and this and this and this, and here's why, they caught 2 pieces of that, trashed one, and are not even going to do that one well. Invite them to the conversation. Teach them, because they're not always going to be with you. Okay. Reflection builds resilience, and curiosity builds character. That's what we want in these kids, right? Be resilient, handle hard things. We want them to be good human beings. You're in control of that, at least a small piece of it. Okay, so the last one is consistency in coaching the mental game. So I don't know how to coach the mental game consistently. A lot of people, again, not because you're choosing to, it just happens, a lot of people think about the mental game as like a backpack that you put on. Because we don't really know what skills to do or not to do, and it's hard. And so it's like, oh wait, I'm doing physical game, and I'm trying to make decisions, and now I need to add on this extra thing, and I left that at home. It's, no, it's not a backpack. Okay? This is a piece of it. It's not physical game and mental game. It's all 3. So let's coach all 3. And I promise we can do it in all of these ways. It starts in your greeting. It starts in their stretching. It starts in their warm-up. It happens in their practices, in your debriefs. It happens in post-competition reflections. It happens in every single piece. So let's do it in every single piece. Okay, so here's one example in your greeting. So this one's called the mind, body, heart check-in. Okay, very simple. So the mind, body, heart check-in is I'm going to have a score and you're going to have a score. We're actually going to have 3 scores each. So you'll ask your players and say, okay, everyone, we're going to do this check-in. I want you to have a number between 1 and 10, 10 being great, amazing, like best score, 1 being the worst score. And I want you to rank in this moment right now. So this is truly my question to you. You'll just write it down. In this moment right now, how would you rank your mind? So positive scores, about 6 or higher, are my mind is clear, my mind is focused, my mind is, just ready to learn, I'm receiving information, I'm curious. Lower numbers would be, my mind's distracted, my mind is floating, daydreaming, my mind is tired. So positive and negative. So in this moment, what would your mind be? Choose a number. Okay. Next is your body. So same thing, 10 good, 1 poor, somewhere in between. Positive numbers. My body feels loose, comfortable. I'm not feeling sick, not having any headaches. I'm not having any pain. My body feels ready to do what I'm asking it to do in this moment. Lower numbers would be the opposite. Maybe I've got a headache, a stomach ache, maybe I have an injury, maybe I I worked out too hard and I'm just like generally sore. My body is fatigued. So identify your body number. And the last one is your heart. So positive 10, low numbers are poor. Your heart is, I'm feeling connected. I'm feeling passionate. I'm feeling just overall kind of like positive, happy. I'm feeling like in a good spot. Low numbers are maybe I'm feeling sad. Maybe I'm feeling, maybe not even like sad about something that's happening here. Maybe there's something happening elsewhere. Maybe I'm just feeling disconnected for one reason or another. Low numbers for your heart are just like, I'm not emotionally invested in this moment right now. hotel bed or pillow that's making you achy. Airplane quickest trip, airplane was good, you know, car drive was fine, yeah, pretty good. I can stand up here fine, I can move around. My heart is so big right now. I get to do the thing that I love with people that also share the same joys that I love too. So I would say that's pretty high in the moment too, so, you know, 9 or 10. So I have really big numbers right now. Ask me tonight and my mind will be like a 4, because I will be so tired. So, who would like to share their numbers? You don't have to give why, but just share your numbers. Anybody? Yeah.
So my mind is an 8, very open to everything that's going on. I love this. Body is a 7, just came from Vegas, I'm tired. And my heart definitely is at a 10 because I definitely found a passion for this.
Thanks for sharing. So my takeaway here is I hope that you guys understand that teens don't always want to talk to you. Like getting more than one-word answers is usually like a work of Congress. And so this is a way for you to check in with them without having to get all the details, without trying to like pull things out and be like, what? Oh my God, I just need a little something. But it also is a really great opportunity for them to connect with each other because, I don't know about you, but sometimes you have some catty girls that are like, she looked at me wrong, so she's got to have some feelings about something. Right? But in reality, if they shared their numbers, they might actually understand that the girl that might have looked at this other girl wrong is really upset that her dog passed away this morning, right? It has nothing to do with this girl. Okay? But we don't know that if we don't have an invitation to share that. The same thing happens too when you're in play and you're in competition. You know, it's nothing to say like, hey, what's your mind score? And you know if your player has a low score, again, go back to boundary. Okay, I know your mind score is low right now. I'm hopeful that we can get it a little bit higher. Take 2 minutes and I'll come back to you. Right? Hold them accountable. They don't know how to do it themselves yet. So the next one, when they're stretching. So this is some of these exercises, not some, they do. They go back into here. So the mind, body, heart check-ins in this one, 5, like the ones that we're about to do are in here too. But these are just some examples. So how do we just kind of incorporate this into while they're stretching? Like, hey guys, while you're stretching, let's go ahead and do the color detective. So as you're stretching with your arm, I want you to like look around the room, and I do want you guys to do this. Look around the room, and I want you to find the first thing that you see that's the color red. So go ahead and look around the room, see if you can find something in the color red, and when you see it, take a deep breath. Good. All right, now I want you to look around the room and find something in the color orange, and when you see it, take a deep breath. So you can go through the entire rainbow here. You can throw all sorts of colors, but you just help them to connect their body and their breathing and their focus to this moment while they were stretching. It wasn't complicated. It wasn't putting on a backpack. You didn't say, all right, everyone, we're going to do some mental mindset training. We're going to look for colors, everybody. That was the quickest way for them to be like, oh, time out, I'm out. Like, no. So another way when they're doing it in practice, so I mentioned we believe in 4 key steps, so I call it the 4 core. So the, I guess it's not really like a start and finish, but number 3 and 4 for the sake of our conversation today, your post-shot routine, and then we get to your in-between frame, or I call it a thinking box. So once they're feeling emotionally regulated, then we can make decisions, right? And so I ask players to find their designated space that travels with them pair to pair, and it's in this space that they intentionally step into that they're asking themselves the same questions. What did I see? Was it what I expected? What might I do to change it, right? So as you're teaching them that, they're learning to do it too. And then they're able to kind of gather that knowledge that they downloaded, make a decision on what they want to do. If they want to consult someone, they step out of the box, they go and consult, they gather information, they step back into the box. In the box is where they make a decision. When they step out of the box, the decision's made. There's no more thinking about it. I hear this all the time, and I was very guilty of it too. Overthinking. The problem is I overthink. Yeah. We gotta turn it off. How do we do that? We train our brain to know when we go here, we do X. When we go here, we do Y. And the example that I use with players is you don't brush your teeth in your closet. You don't go to the bathroom in the sink. And you don't get dressed in the front lawn, right? Hopefully not. I have questions, but hopefully not. So this concept is no different, right? We learn to go to the bathroom in the bathroom, brush our teeth where we brush our teeth, get dressed where we get dressed. This is no different. When we step out, that decision, signed, sealed, in the mail, you don't get it back. Unless you're real good friends with the postman, but even then, I have a hard time getting things back. Okay? So, what do we do with our time? Here, we've already made the decision. Enjoy the day. Didn't you come here to spend time with your friends? Didn't you come here to have a good time? Yeah. Get something to drink. Get a snack if you need to. But that time is limited. Because then we've got another job to do. Now we're in what we call the pre-shot routine. So, our pre-shot routine, most kids are familiar with. This is what we do before that. So, in the pre-shot routine, we are separating from the fun and the distractions, and we're focusing on what do I need to do to feel connected to what I'm about to do. And again, this is not changing the plan. This is not rehashing what we've decided to do. It's, I know what I'm about to do. What do I need to do to be in the right heart and headspace to do it? And a lot of kids will describe this to me as like, oh, well, I zone out. Yeah, that's fine. But what is it that you're doing to zone out, right? Our brain will wander if we let it wander. It'll stay focused when we tell it to focus. So let's give it something to focus on. If you want to wander, you want to zone out, pick a song to zone out to. Pick a phrase to zone out to. Watch ball motion, watch pins, but not the people throwing it. You're in control of that. And then, when it's their turn, they start their pre-shot routine. And so, for some players, it's establishing one period. Got lots of kids that grab their ball and just run. So let's figure out what that is to begin with. But then for other kids, it's, you know, coach, like, I got up here and I got set, and all I could think about was, don't miss the 10 pin. Don't miss the 10 pin. Okay, what happened? Well, I definitely missed it. Yeah, I imagine you did. I imagine you did. Okay, so what do we do in this moment, right? Our brain wanders when we let it wander. It's focused when we tell it to focus. Okay, so I want you to grab your bowling ball, and I want you to feel what it feels like. So when I grab my bowling ball, I grab it, I grab my chamois, and I immediately put my bowling ball over here. I'm right-handed. So notice what it feels like to have your bowling ball here. What does it feel like, the weight? Where do you feel it in your arm? It's just a second. Okay, now I've got my chamois, and I'm wiping off the chamois, I'm wiping off the ball with my chamois. Well, why do we do that? Well, because it helps me breathe. All right, cool. But why do we actually do that? Well, to wipe the oil off the ball. Yeah. So watch yourself wash the oil off the ball. Like, you don't have to look anywhere else. You're wiping the oil off the ball. Okay? And then I say, well, what's the difference between a brand new chamois and a used chamois? Oh, and they're real quick to know this one. A brand new chamois is like tacky and sticky and it's hard to wipe it, but a used chamois is real smooth and quick. Yeah. You know what? You've done this before. The fact that you can answer that question tells me that you've focused your energy on that before. So let's keep doing it. Focus on what it is that feels like the steps that we're taking, because when we do that, we don't have time to wander. We go through those steps, I wipe off my shoe, I step up here, I kind of do a little slidey thing to make sure I got the grit off my shoe. I get lined up, I'm focused on what it feels like, I'm focusing my hip adjustments, my arm. I look up, take a deep breath, and I go. I don't have time to think. I don't have time to evaluate. I don't have time to doubt. And that's what we want to teach them to do. You are in control of the controllables. Let's teach them what the controllables are. Let's teach them how to use it. So, all right. I've spoken a lot on what's keeping us between now and lunch, but I hope that you've learned a couple of things or two. I do have exercises that if you're a coach that's like, hey, this is great, but how do I even have more intentional style or intentional like practice plans? I've got stuff like that too. But any questions at all? I like the tough ones. Remember, I like prickly people. Anything? Well, I'll be around all day, so if there's something that you want to ask or pick my brain about, I'd love to hear about it. It's been a joy being here with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Hopefully everyone got something out of that presentation. A lot of good stuff for as coaches to think about and look at. Again, this is being web streamed, so if you want to look at it, again, go back to Savage TV. They have it, it'll be on there. Also, she's got another presentation for the bowlers and the parents. About a half hour or so out on the lanes. You're welcome to stick around for that. We have a luncheon being set up right now, and you're welcome to join us for lunch. We got Tom Taylor's going to come up here. We got a bunch of bowling balls to give away. I have posters for middle school and high school bowling. If you didn't get yours, or if you need more, I have them up here. So after we break here shortly, please come up and get any more posters that you would need. They were all sent to the coordinators. They were sent to the center. Each got one poster of each. But if you need more, I have more